welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It is a big one today. It is Tottenham against Chelsea. This one always means that little bit more. We've met in finals, we've met in semi-finals, battle of the bridge in the Premier League. No matter where these two are in the Premier League table, it always means more. The Chelsea fans will know just how much it'll mean today to them as we face Spurs. Kick-off here is at 1:30 p.m. Now, joining me pitchside is Dan Stewart. Dan, try and sum up for us today just how big of a game this really is.
It's huge. It doesn't get much bigger than this. We've not been in great form, but if there's a game that you can get up for, it's Spurs away. I could feel it even as I was walking around the stadium coming in. The Spurs fans are very up for it, but luckily so am I, and so are we. And I think it's going to be a game where we need to produce something because Kanté as manager as well, he'll know what to expect. We're going to need to be able to churn something out and really put it on them and behave like the home team today.
Yeah, the Chelsea players have actually just walked past us and into the stadium just there. They looked calm, they looked composed, they looked focused as well, didn't they?
Yeah, headphones in, tunnel vision. I think everybody understands the magnitude of this game. I think all the players understand that, we need a win just for our form, but also how big this game actually is, So everyone looked focused, everyone looked ready, everyone looked happy as well. So hopefully we can get a performance today.
You mentioned obviously Chelsea usually play quite well against Spurs. Is that a good or a bad thing coming into this game, given the form that we're in?
It can only be a good thing because I don't think we've necessarily had terrible performances. We're just not getting the rub of the green. When we play Spurs, we do seem to dominate. It doesn't matter who's in charge. We seem to have the lion's share of the ball and we carve out better chances. Hopefully today is one of those. We just have a bit of a problem hitting the back of the net at the moment. But I've had a look at that net over there. I've got a feeling that today is going to come together.
And we've got players in this team that know what it means to face Spurs. A lot of players in the team that won't know what it means to face Spurs, but you would have thought that after training this last week, coming into this, they'll know how important it is.
Yeah, I think they'll understand pretty quickly. As soon as you sign for a team, you work out who the local rivals are, who we're supposed to hate and who we're supposed to not hate. I think everybody who came here today will understand what it means to get 3 points against Spurs.
And it's not just a big game, it's actually a big couple of weeks for Graham Potter and Chelsea, isn't it? Because we've obviously got Spurs today, we've got a big rivalry against Leeds on Saturday, and then after that it's the Dortmund second leg in the Champions League. So if Chelsea can get a win here today, it would set them up perfectly for that next run of games, wouldn't it?
Yeah, this needs to be the springboard. I've said it pretty much every time we've done this. We are due a performance. And even if we don't get a performance, we need a result, something that we can build on, some kind of momentum. It is a big 3 weeks, a lot rests on today. Leeds, obviously, it doesn't seem as big of a match, but it is given the circumstances. And then obviously the big one at Dortmund, where we hope we are, we get more of the green, because I don't think we were bad in that game, And
that was actually quite a positive performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, but, we have to learn how to win whilst playing bad. At the moment we seem to not be winning whilst playing quite well. We've got to find a way to turn it on its head, and it has to start today.
Does this remind you a little bit of that Crystal Palace game at home? Obviously it's not as big as this game here today, this huge London derby, but obviously that was a London derby and that was just about winning. Is that the same here today? The performance necessarily doesn't matter too much, it's the result that matters the most.
I think that's what it is every week, if you're totally honest. I think sometimes you look for a performance when you are winning.
Yeah, when you're in a good run of form.
Yeah, I think that regardless of whether you play well or bad, the most important thing is to get those points. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we just need the win. A performance would be great, but I'll just take the 3 points.
And the atmosphere around the club completely changes with 3 points today. They're Chelsea's biggest rivals, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, rivals is a weird one because it's not like they win much, do they? But
this is the fixture. Is this the fixture that the Chelsea fans, when they come out at the start of the season, you look and you're like, when are we playing Spurs home and away?
It's the local boys who are local enough anyway, a London derby. There's always been a bit of needle there. So because of that, you always anticipate this match. You look at when it's coming up and you get prepared for it. So yeah, this is the one where we need to come alive and we need a performance.
And I know obviously for Spurs, Arsenal are their biggest rivals, but it's pretty close up there. They don't really like Chelsea, do they?
None of them do. Why would you like us? We
win everything.
We win everything all the time. We are a club that seems to, when we change things, it works for us. and then we win Champions Leagues. We win absolutely everything, and we seem to do it when we want to do it. So I don't blame them for hating us.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Lee Parker joins us now.
Hello.
Lee, thank you very much
How
for
are
joining us. Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. All good. What a stadium this is, by the way.
It
If you've
is.
not been here before, it's incredible, isn't it?
It is lovely, and hopefully it will be even better when Chelsea get 3 points today.
Let's hope so. Let's run through the Chelsea team, shall we? It's 6 changes from the team that faced Southampton last week. It's Kerr in goal. A back four of Reece James, Kalidou Koulibaly, your captain once again, Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell at left back, Enzo and Ruben Loftus-Cheek as the midfield two. It's then Raheem Sterling back in the starting 11. Joao Felix, I think I got that right. Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz up top. And I'll quickly run you through the subs bench as well, Liv. Marcus Bettinelli, Badiashile, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang back in the Matchday squad. Mykhailo Mudryk, Mason Mount, Dennis Zakaria, Conor Gallagher, Noni Madueke and Wesley Fofana. Whew, and breathe.
Looking at that, I mean, we'll get onto the starting 11 in just a moment, but what strikes me about that is how strong Chelsea's bench is today, Lee.
Absolutely, so many potential game changers. Hopefully you can hear us over the
timing.
PA, which has just taken they've notched it up a couple of decibels. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's incredible. We spoke about this with Graham Potter in the week. There's strength in depth again now. Players are coming back in the starting 11 and also on the subs bench as well. We are getting back to what we would look at as a very strong Chelsea matchday squad, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. And Dan, Thiago Silva is not partnering Badiashile today. Badiashile's on the bench, and Badiashile next to Thiago Silva has looked awfully composed. Graham Potter has put huge trust in Kalidou Koulibaly today, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think looking at that team sheet, I think he's gone for experience. I think he's gone for players who he thinks knows what it means to play against Tottenham. That's that front four, if you like, is very much what we're used to seeing in recent years, recent games against Tottenham. So Sterling knows how to play against Tottenham. Ziyech will have played them many times. Maybe he's gone for the experience more than the slightly more wild card of a team.
And Kalidou Koulibaly obviously scored his first Chelsea goal against Spurs back at the Bridge in that brilliant game, wasn't it? And he's dealt with Harry Kane before. Him and Thiago Silva could do it again, couldn't they?
Absolutely. By the way, Spurs unchanged going into this afternoon's game, but you're absolutely right. You get the impression that experience really could be key. It was interesting before we were live on air. A certain Gary Cahill walked past us, had a quick catch up. He's someone that knows all about playing Spurs.
How we would love him and JT at the back.
Yeah, can you imagine? And like Dan was saying, if you bought your boots, but great to see Gary as well. But yeah, I mean, it's always a big game occasion. It always has a big match feel, and there is a hell of a lot of personality in that team, Liv.
When I look at the fullbacks, Dan, it's nice to have Reece James back. Obviously missed the game. Obviously he's had his injury issues, so maybe just saving him for a game like today. And Ben Chilwell as well at left back. That's a good pair of fullbacks.
Well, look, when we were in our best moments last season, it was them two, really providing everything. As a fullback pairing, it probably doesn't get any better in the Premier League. I can't think of anyone that I would have instead of them two. They haven't played that many games starting together because of injuries. One's always injured or the other is. But luckily today we have them both back. So hopefully, when they're both fit and flying, we are a very different team.
Yeah, and down those right and left hand sides, as well as, we know how good they are defending, but we need them to get forward and help that front line today, don't we?
Absolutely, and there's so many potential goal scorers. It's interesting looking along the bench there. What a story it would be if a certain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang came off the bench and scored the winner here at Tottenham today. Amazing, so many potential stories in this squad. And
he's gone with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, partners Enzo in midfield. He was pretty good over the last couple of games. That's a solid centre midfield partnership, isn't it?
It really
Especially
is.
with Kanté, coming back and getting close to fitness. But Ruben's done a pretty good job in there.
He certainly has. Just on Kanté, great to see N'Golo back out on the grass, hopefully not too far away. He's on the road to recovery, as is Christian Pulisic. But you're absolutely right. And Ruben has looked fantastic when he's come into the team. He's got that innate ability to break lines, hasn't he? He offers something that maybe nobody else quite can. And when you've got Enzo sort of in front of the back four there, and he can ping those quarterback passes around, having Ruben alongside him to make those marauding runs that we've seen throughout the years, that's going to scare Spurs to death, surely, isn't it?
Hopefully. Now that front line, is there probably... We've made a lot of changes across that front line, and we've had issues scoring goals. Joao Felix is the player, Dan, that since he's joined, those games he's played in, he's looked the most threatening. I think you said it earlier. Is today the day for him?
Yeah, I think he's looked dangerous in all the games he's played. He honestly is a very complete player, and he's adjusted to the Premier League like a duck to water.
That's the one.
Yes,
yeah,
I got it.
I can hear it ticking.
He is going to be our biggest threat. You know, I think he seems to pick up pockets just off Havertz, where he seems to get in those half spaces and all of a sudden he's on top of a defence. So today I think he'll be another important part. Maybe the fact that, you know, Sterling and Ziyech will come inside probably gives him even more service.
And with Raheem Sterling, he was the one that came off the bench against Southampton, and he was the one that made it looked like stuff was going to happen when he got the ball. And he probably should have scored, shouldn't he?
That's a fair point. I think it's a fair point. I mean, it's just the team feels and looks entirely different when you've got Reece James on the right, and the threats that he possesses from right back. He's also got that ability to drop into midfield as well, which we've seen as well. You know, the assists, the goals potentially, you know, the link-up play that we've seen, and like you've already alluded to, Dan, having Chilwell and James fit from the start, it just gives it an entirely different feel, doesn't it?
And if it doesn't work, like we mentioned earlier, that subs bench is looking strong. When you think of such a huge pitch, someone like Mykhailo Mudryk, who, by the way, Lee, you'll know this because you'll be down at Cobham, he looked very, very sharp in training. We saw some videos on social media. This game could be perfect for him. Later on, when that Spurs line gets a little bit tired, to bring on the fastest player in the Premier League could be Graham Potter's biggest asset in this game.
That's a very good point. You're absolutely right. He looks so sharp in training. His attitude, his work ethic. You know, when the players have a day off, a rare day off, he's in, wanting to go out with a bag of balls, practicing shooting, practicing everything within his game. And you're absolutely right. This playing surface behind us looks fantastic. It's almost made. It's a big pitch. It's a wide pitch. And you're absolutely right. When people are getting a bit leggy in the last half an hour of a game, my goodness, the last thing you want to do is see Mykhailo Mudryk running at you 100 miles an hour.
100%. And of course, I look at that subs bench there. Mason Mount's on the bench. Now, if anyone in this Chelsea team knows what it means to play Spurs, it's him. And you know, obviously he himself will admit that he probably hasn't been in the greatest of form, but he knows what it means here today. And if he comes off the bench, you'll know you'll get fight, you'll get passion. He's someone that will give absolutely everything.
He will always do it. Every week in, week out, this is what he does. I was actually quite surprised to see him not in the starting 11, given that he really knows how to play against Spurs. But off the bench, you know what you're going to get. You know, he is a very complete player, Chelsea through and through. And he's also very smart. So when he's not in the best of form, it doesn't take him too long to figure out why and what needs to change in order to get back in form. So we'll see Mason Mount flying again.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you for the time being. Right, wherever Chelsea FC and their fans go, Trivago is there to bring us all together on match days. The Wherever You Go wall is presented by official club partner Trivago. Wherever you are in the world, send us a selfie, send us a message of support of the boys today. Let us know where in the world you are supporting Chelsea and tweet in using the hashtag Wherever You Go. We're here from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and we'll be back very shortly.
Feeling okay. Great to be back after being discharged from the hospital and coming to say hello and watch training. It was scary, mostly for the people around, for my family. You know, the last thing I could remember was when the corner was gonna be kicked, and you know, the first thing when I woke up was when the fans they were singing my name. So I would like to say thank you. Yeah, it was an instinct, you know. That's the first time I remember to be awake and, you know, to hear the name and to clap them as well, you know. At the moment we are going through a difficult moment, so it's very important to stick together and, you know, in the situation that I was, you know, to say thank you, and hopefully I can see them in a different situation. Well, now a couple of days to recover well, and then start progressively my way back to the pitch. So we have to take it step by step.
They're happy to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah, they are. Thank you.
He's worked it short to Kovacic. Got it back against Aurier. Might fancy a shot here. Willian! Oh, what a goal! Brilliant stuff from Willian. Spurs gave him the room and he punished them. His fourth of the season is a big one. No! It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Willian versus Gazzaniga to put Chelsea in a great position. Here he comes. 2-0. Absolutely brilliant from Willian. Good header, Thiago Silva. Chelsea ahead. Nodded in by the Brazilian. The perfect connection. Beautiful delivery from alongside. And there's Thiago Silva to score his first goal of the season. Range deflected. Oh, a big slice of luck about that, but Chelsea will take it. N'Golo Kanté bought a ticket, and he's ended up winning the raffle. Rudiger! That's the way to finish it! Here! 3-0 on aggregate! Rudiger inside judged, and I think the corner got the crucial touch.
It is a huge game here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And before we get into the actual game, Lee, obviously we've heard there from Cesar Azpilicueta. You've been down at Cobham and you'd spoken to him and he didn't remember anything, did he?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. What a couple of days it was. It was frightening. I mean, obviously, for those of us that were there when the injury occurred, it was one of those moments where everything, you could feel the energy just sort of suck out of the ground. And for 5 minutes, everyone was watching him like a hawk. And then thankfully, once he was on the stretcher and sort of came past us in the press box, we saw him move his arms up, and he managed to sort of wave to the fans. And he said to me on Tuesday, that was the first thing he remembered. He said after the corner that came in, everything went black. And he said, and the first thing he remembered when he woke up was hearing the fans singing his name as he was taken down towards the groundsman's entrance and on his way to hospital. It was incredible. Yeah, I mean, thank goodness he was okay. We shared a few words and we shouted at him and told him not to scare us again like that. But it was nice, actually. He sent me a voice note on Saturday night taking the mickey out of me, and after that I knew he was okay.
Yeah.
So.
And also you said his family weren't actually at the game. Luckily they weren't there to see it, were
Absolutely, you know, you're absolutely right. So basically, in front of the shed end where the injury happened, just above that in the middle tier, is where the family and friends tend to be when they're watching games. And coincidentally, his wife and kids weren't there. So she didn't know anything about it until after the incident had happened, thankfully. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, right. Turning our attention to the game then, Dan. Try and sum up just how much this will mean, not just to the away fans that are over just behind us, but to the whole Chelsea support today. What does it mean if we can beat Tottenham?
It means everything. Honestly, our weekend is made. The whole outlook, everything changes. You know, 3 points. It's strange what it can do for your weekend, for your week.
I wish it didn't affect me as much.
Honestly,
but Chelsea's results really affect my mood.
that's it, you know, and this is it. And I think it's the same for everyone that's going to be here and everyone who's watching at home. We are desperate for a win. We're desperate to beat Spurs every time we play against them. So, yeah, unfortunately, for those of us that would like to be able to separate our emotions from football, it means everything.
It does. And Lee, this season, when I look at Spurs, they don't really turn up. I think that's you know, okay for me to say. They don't really turn up in the first half. So how important or vital could a fast start for Chelsea be here today? Because they struggle to come back. If they're still in the game at 0-0, it's fine in the second half because they tend to show up. But if they're a couple of goals down in that first half, they struggle to come back from it, don't they?
No, it's a very good point, and you're absolutely right. We say it before, you know, we've said it before this season that, you know, a quick start can be imperative to really sort of setting the tone here this afternoon. And if we see a start like we saw over in Dortmund, for example, then, you know, the sky's the limit. And like we said earlier on, if you were with us, there are so many big game players in this Chelsea 11 that are going to be there and hopefully, you know, take advantage of, let's hope, a slower Tottenham start.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, this is a heated fixture. It's always got controversy, big talking points. We only have to go back to the game earlier in the season at the Bridge when there was that huge talking point, that Romero hair pull on Cucurella. There is always things to talk about in this fixture, isn't there?
There's always something, you know. It's whether it's controversy, whether it's a VAR decision, whatever it is there's always something. We just have to hope that whatever it is today, because there will be something. Do we need
Chelsea? It feels like when you're in a bad run of form, everything goes against you. Nothing goes for you. Like today, we just need that little something that can change, you know, change Chelsea's season. We just need that little something to go for us today.
It's not even luck. I think we just need justice. I feel like a few decisions have not gone our way when they perhaps should have. And, you know, I think today is the day it needs to stop. And, you know, hopefully we can just win in the most purest way of playing football. But if it has to be, you know, via a VAR decision, I will take that as well.
Yeah.
We are due one.
And Lee, we've actually had some such iconic games against Spurs. I mean,
wow.
When you look back, Battle of the Bridge is one that will live in the memory forever in terms of one of the greatest Premier League games. But over the years, there's been some really, really good Spurs-Chelsea games, hasn't there?
Oh my goodness, so many. We could be here for an hour talking about it.
Good.
Not just the games, but also players become heroes in this fixture as well, don't you? If you think about people that have really stood up in this fixture, go back to Juan Mata, Eden Hazard, Marcus Alonso.
Nemanja this was Matic. Marcus Alonso's fixture, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nemanja Matic at Wembley, the one that, you know.
That is my favourite.
Oh my goodness.
That's one of my favourite Chelsea goals ever.
Yeah.
I was right behind it as well when that went in.
Zoola's reaction on the bench. You know, it was, and that's the thing. It's like, and that's what these players will be saying. We were talking about Azpi. He'll be in the dressing room today, just reminding some of the players, this is your chance to be a hero. You know, this is a chance for them to really go down in Chelsea folklore in fixtures like this.
Yeah, absolutely right. The goalkeepers are out behind us, and the players will be out shortly. So let's head over to our commentary team: Pat Nevin, Jason Cundy, and Matt Davies-Adams, who's going to be taking you through it.
Well, yeah, it's just moments away now from Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea, always one of the biggest games of the season, and it's one that man, Kerr, tends to enjoy. He's got an excellent record against Spurs. He's barely ever conceded a goal against them. Well, wherever you may be, wherever we go, Trivago is with us. Now they bring us to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to follow the warm-up of the Blues for our match against Spurs. Jason Cundy's alongside me. Pat Nevin's going to join us later for commentary too. It's a difficult one to figure out, this, isn't it, Jason? We just don't know what we're going to get from Chelsea, but also from Tottenham. Now Antonio Conte on the touchline for them. I mean, you guess there's an emphasis on them to attack from the first whistle, but as we were talking about before we came on air, that's not really the Tottenham way this season.
No, good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone. No, Spurs are traditionally slow starters. It's deliberate. There's absolutely no way they do that consistently without that being deliberate. They will sit deep. They will keep the game tight. They'll make sure the first 15, 20 minutes they give nothing away. But what that allows, and we've seen that, teams can grow into games. And I think that's a part of the game that I think we really need to try and dominate, because we haven't taken chances recently, Matt. That's one of the biggest failings of us, is not putting chances away when they do come. And some games there's been plenty. Dortmund away, how we didn't score or go on to win that game, I'll never know. Then you fast forward to the next league game against Southampton. First half, chances few and far between. In fact, the whole game. Second half, better, much better. Had to be, brought on changes and we were chasing the game. But no, we don't know what this game really... It's such a weird... Because even though Spurs are on the cusp of Champions League football, they're there or thereabouts, it's not a great Spurs team. It's not, you don't really know. I've got some Spurs friends, as we all have. They don't really know what this game's going to deliver for them. And Chelsea fans, we don't know what this game is going to deliver us. This is a really hard one to call right now, Matt. But of course, Spurs, Chelsea, Spurs. It's one of the biggest games of the season.
Well, let's get on to our 3 points for 3 points then. The first of them feeds into what we've been talking about. Spurs tend to start games slowly. Chelsea need to capitalise on that. I mean, generally, you look at it, Southampton was obviously an exception, but if we go back to the last away game in Dortmund, chance creation was not a problem for Chelsea. So there's no reason to think they can't get at Spurs early on, even though they will be set up in a way that is designed for that not to happen.
No, and I've alluded to that just a couple of seconds ago. If Spurs do sit tight and make sure they don't give any space away, that the 3, the 5, the 1, or maybe a 5 at the back early on and a 4 in the middle, they will keep things tight. There's very little space in which to work with. If that's the case, and we do have good possession, and we do dominate the ball, we've got to try and find a way, Matt, that when chances come, we've got to put them away. We simply have to, because you do the maths. You don't score, you're not going to win a game. You might keep a clean sheet, but then you're relying on everyone defensively to do their job every single second of the game. You've got to score goals. If we do capitalise possession and those chances come, we do put them away, Spurs will change. The best examples out here at Stamford Bridge, first home game of the season. For an hour or 70 minutes, we were excellent. We really were. And this was under Tuchel. And how we didn't go on to win that game, I will never know.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago, that, doesn't it? The old touchline squabble between Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte, neither of whom are present today for different reasons. Our second point, then, is about how tight this game is going to be. Expected goal difference for Chelsea is 0.1 for Tottenham. It's 0.2. Which is strange when you think about how much attacking talent is on show, certainly in Tottenham's case, where they've got their all-time leading goal scorer. But I guess it might be one of those days where one goal's enough to settle it.
Yes, and then when you look at games like that, when things are tight, you then often look to the bench. What can change on the bench? Mudryk is on the bench for us, Mount is on the bench, Son is on the bench for them. So it might be one of these games that the managers turn to try and change the game. I do expect it to be tight today. I mean, famous last words of a commentator, Matt, you know what that's like. But this is a game that I think, as I've already alluded to, it's hard to predict. It's hard to look at and see confidently where this game is going to go. And often in games like this, mate, if it comes down to a chance, if you don't take them, you will be punished. And at some stage, if Spurs get chances and don't take them, then hopefully that we'll be the other end and punish those, and they'll be thinking vice versa.
Just looking at Chelsea's lineup, and certainly in terms of attackers, you think back to Fulham away and all the promise we saw between Felix and Havertz. I'm plucking this out of the air somewhat, but I am working on the assumption this is the first time that Felix and Raheem Sterling would have played together, and that makes Chelsea look a little bit more potent.
Yeah, Raheem had a big impact against Southampton. Come off the bench, it's hard not to, really. We were chasing the game. We had to do something different. We were really poor in that first half. But when you look at the team and you look at the teams that Potter has chosen, it smacks to me of someone that's still trying to find the formula, still trying to find the right combination at the back. Fofana and Badiashile on the bench. I thought one of those, or maybe both, would have started today. No. Then you look at what else we've got. Zakaria, does he need a game? Well, he's decided to go with Ruben. Fine. I thought the Ruben's done well. Enzo starts. You've got Mudryk on the bench as well. How's that partnership going to work with Sterling? He hasn't played with Sterling either much, and he hasn't played with Felix much. So there's all of this going on, and it feels a little bit like Potter is trying desperately to find the right combination, the right formation with the right players. And because he has been given so many to work with, I think that kind of doesn't help. It's harder to work with a bigger squad of such talented players, such an expensively assembled squad, than it is sometimes with a smaller one. Sometimes teams pick themselves, and you look at Arsenal at the moment. Arsenal's team pretty much picks itself when everyone's fit. When everyone's fit with Chelsea, you don't know.
Our third of our 3 points for 3 points today is the attack needs to support our solid defence. Chelsea, by the way, have an excellent record defensively in the Premier League this season. Only Newcastle have conceded fewer goals, so there's that platform to build from. But really, it doesn't matter, as you said, Jace, if you're not going to get any goals in front of it. Let's have a think about the defence, though, because we've spoken a lot about the attack already. But it's a back four today. You said you're surprised that neither Fofana or Badiashile are in. Do you think four at the back is going to be the long-term way to go for this Chelsea team, or is that just what suits us now?
Right now, it feels as though Potter has gone to a 4. You look back over the most recent games, 4 is his preferred choice, and he's going to go with that. And I think that that's a decision he has to make moving forward. What is the best formation? Potter has, in his time, and I think it goes back to the point I was making about trying to find the right combination, the right formula, hasn't quite worked out yet. And there's a number of reasons for that. The injuries have absolutely killed us, not just him, but Tuchel as well. You put something in our WhatsApp group earlier, Matt, about Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time that he's done successive league games since October-November 2021. I mean, that is a massive part of the team.
That's insane. So in 14, 15 months, the first time he's played back-to-back Premier League games. That tells that if you really want a little portal into what has been part of Chelsea's problem, and there's other parts, I can't believe that. So that tells you a little bit about what other managers, and in particular now Potter, has had to deal with. But yeah, defensively we are good, but the problem is when you don't take that goal lead, when chances go amiss, when opportunities come up and they're not taken, I feel it puts more pressure on the defenders as an ex-defender. I know what it feels like when chances go begging, and all it takes is for one chance the other end, maybe a mistake, maybe a bit of good fortune, maybe a refereeing decision. All of a sudden, the game can change, and you think, how have we given up 5 or 6 really good chances, yet they've had a half chance and they're 1-0 up? So it's the balance, and this is the biggest thing. If you can get the best managers get the balance between defensively solid and attacking, still create and score goals. Of course, that's the combination everyone wants, because you get that right, Matt, you're onto something special.
And is that something that you can do with James and Chilwell playing at full-back rather than wing-back, because they are athletic to support the attack but also to help the defence out? Because that's the question mark that I sometimes have. We talk about the importance of James and Chilwell as Chelsea attackers. Is that curbed a little bit when they have to play full-back rather than wing-back?
Yeah, but I think then Enzo's role becomes really important, and Ruben's. What you can do, you can split the 2 centre-halves, and you can have one of the midfielders drop in as being that extra defensive, that defensive-minded player, but they can almost play like a back 3. But also what that gives, it gives Reece and Ben opportunities to go high and wide, because defensively we're still quite solid. What you can't have is 2 of the players, the wing-backs, going high and wide, and Enzo and Ruben going to join the attack. That's recipe for disaster, especially against a side like Spurs who like to counter-attack. So I think early on in this game, I think it'll be very tight, but Reece and Ben's best positions are, for me, high and wide.
All right, well, we're less than half an hour away from kick-off now. Jason and myself will be joined by Pat to talk you through the game, but for now, let's head back pitch side to Olivia and the team.
The atmosphere is really building here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. As you can probably see, it is filling up very nicely as the players are behind us there. Now, we do this new thing on Matchday Live, don't we, called Shoot, Pass and Clear, and we get given 3 scenarios. Shoot is the most likely, pass is almost 50-50, and clear is something we perhaps want to avoid, or we don't think is maybe going to happen. Now, the 3 scenarios today are Chelsea player to score their first goal for the club, Chelsea to score the final goal of the game, and Reece James to get a goal or an assist. Of course, he is starting today. So me and Lee, we've gone for the same, haven't we, Lee? We've both gone. Our shoot was Reece James goal or assist. You fancy Reece James today?
I really do. We spoke about him a little earlier, and the impact that Reece has when he starts a game, it just the whole feel and the balance of the team is entirely different. You get the impression, without wanting to jinx it, that this is the type of game that really suits Reece James. This playing surface, this opposition, this type of scenario. got a good feeling for Reece today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've gone Chelsea to score the final goal of the game, pass. My thinking behind that was that we could be 3-0 up and Spurs might get a consolation, so they might score the last goal of the game. That was my thinking behind it. What was yours?
I can't one-up that, to be honest with you. I love it. I'm loving the confidence.
And then we've gone, obviously, as the clear Chelsea player to score their first goal for the club. Now, the only reason we've done that is because, actually, in the starting 11, the only player, I think, the new player that hasn't scored is Enzo Fernandez. Now, he's had a couple of nice shots from outside the box, so it could happen today, Dan. And that is what you've gone as most likely to happen, isn't it?
No pressure. Over to you.
That is Dan's shoot, is that their Chelsea player to score their first goal for the club.
I have a very strange method behind that. I personally think that we win this game off the bench.
Yeah.
And on the bench, there is a vast array of players who are yet to get their first goal for Chelsea. So I think Mudryk could easily come off the bench and punish them with 30 or 40 minutes to go.
Yeah, that pace. Just talking of Mykhailo Mudryk, that pace, that's going to scare everyone, whether you're playing from the first minute or the last. But to have him off the bench today, that is someone that Graham Potter could look to rely on as he gets back to match fitness, I suppose.
And that's my that's my prediction for what we're shooting. I couldn't go with both of you. I mean,
you've gone different.
We need someone that's going to go different.
And you've gone Chelsea to score the final goal of the game as your sort of 50-50 as your pass.
Yeah, do you know what? I actually think the final goal of the game could easily be the first goal of the game. So I think if Mudryk...
Is that a 1-0 prediction we've got here?
It could be a 1-0 prediction. Tottenham away, 1-0, I'll take it.
And your last one is Reece James' goal and an assist. I don't like this because this means you're not backing Reece James, Dan.
No, I just think we have goals. We have goals coming from so many places that for today.
Do we?
Oh no, I mean opportunities coming from so many places.
We hope we have. When you look at that starting 11, there is plenty of players, Lee, that can get into those positions. And actually, creating chances hasn't been Chelsea's problem. For a long while it was, but now we just need that someone. We saw it from João Felix against West Ham, putting one of those opportunities in the back of that. Had a couple against Dortmund. So we have, we've got those players that can do it. Just that little final decision has been the only thing that's missing.
No, I think that's a fair point. And João Felix, if he's in that free role that we're expecting him to have, behind Kai Havertz, he is going to find those pockets. He is going to create those spaces. And it was interesting you talking about maybe the game being won off the bench. We haven't even talked about Noni Madueke as well. Another player with real pace. So if the Spurs defence are feeling a little bit leggy, we've talked about Mudryk, but Noni's not afraid to, once he's on the ball, he'll just run at you, and he's got that ability to take people on and go to the byline. So, again, options wherever you look.
And Dan, when you look at that Spurs lineup again, it's Fraser Forster in goal. Now, this is not someone like Hugo Lloris, who has been at Spurs for years and been their #1 goalkeeper. Yeah. Shots need to be taken, don't they, from the edge of the box, from whenever they get into those positions. Don't be afraid to actually have a shot and test the keeper.
They say it at Sunday League, if you have a look and that's not their normal keeper, test him out.
You test him out. Keeper down when you play football. 30 yards.
It's not who they're used to having in goal. So you want to test him. This is a big ask of him to play against Chelsea in a game of this magnitude. Test him out. Yeah. Test him out. Test him from distance. Just beat him.
Just beat them. That'll be your team talk in the dressing room. Lee, what will Graham Potter's team talk be today? Because, he'll know how much this means to the Chelsea fans. Yep. And it's a big day for him as well. If he can coach his side and get a win today, that could turn everything around. I
think it's a really good point. It's something we touched on when we sat down with the manager after the press conference on Friday. And you get the impression it's one of those games where, to be fair, the manager probably doesn't have to say a great deal. It's a big match, big occasion. Like we've said, there are senior players in that dressing room that know all about this fixture as well and the history. So they're going to be motivated. They're going to be fired up. Collectively, the players want to turn this form around.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is such a big game. Just a reminder of the Wherever You Go wall. Thank you to everyone who's gotten on the wall. Make sure you get involved for the next couple of games. It's Leeds at home and Dortmund away. We want to see where around the world are you watching the game using the hashtag Wherever You Go. Now, we were talking about Graham Potter. It's time to hear from our head coach, as he was talking ahead of the game.
Players have given a fantastic reaction. Really pleased with that. Obviously, everybody's hurting after the weekend, and then we have to take that responsibility and we have to look to do better. Try and analyse the situation, and then really focused to the weekend and turning it around with a fantastic game against Tottenham, and we're looking forward to that. Yeah, great to see N'Golo on the training pitch. He's joined the first part of the warm-up, so still a bit to go yet, but it's fantastic to have him back. What he brings to the team is his energy, his quality, his intelligence. He's a fantastic player, and everybody's delighted to see him. Great to see Wesley back, and I thought he did really well. I thought you saw his aggression, you saw his intensity. I thought the substitutions, him and Raheem, nice to have him back as well, and getting minutes on the pitch. So both of those were positives from the second half against Southampton, even though the result clearly was a disappointing one for us. Enzo's been fantastic for us. Not easy to arrive at the time that he did. He's having to adapt to us, to the league, to the intensity of the Premier League, combine that with Champions League. So he had a fantastic week in terms of experiences of that. I think he'll get better and better the more he's with us, but every day we see his quality. We're so happy with him, his personality, his attitude, his character. He's really impressive. Enzo in the team and players returning from injury is fantastic for us. It's a real competition now. We've got a lot of options, a lot of players. The spirit amongst the boys is really positive. They're competing, but they're competing in a good way. They're ready to help the team when, if they're not, on the pitch, and they're keeping themselves, really trained well, and ready to help. So it's positive. The players are excited for the game. I think that's the main feeling I get. You can tell this week they know it's an important game. It's a big game. We're looking forward to going there. I think the rivalry is special, so we're excited for the match. Well, the message to the fans is firstly we're sorry for the results that we've had recently. We want them to be better. We want them to be happy. We want to put smiles on their faces. We're working really hard to do that. We're suffering with them, and it's not a nice feeling at all. We hope we can remain, and we will be together, and we can keep working, and we can come through this and be a lot stronger for it. So in some ways we're excited for the future, but also knowing that at the moment, we need to improve and do better.
A very good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for full match commentary of Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea in the Premier League. One of the fixtures that all Blues supporters look for when the fixtures are released at the start of the season. Well, it comes with both these teams even more keen than usual for a win. Chelsea just looking to pick up some kind of form to take it into the remainder of the season. Tottenham trying to secure fourth place where they currently sit. There are 11 points between the two teams ahead of kick-off. Spurs have only finished above Chelsea in 3 of the last 26 Premier League seasons, but surely the Blues need to win today if they are to stop that being 4 in 27. It is me, Matt Davis-Adams, alongside Jason Cundy and Pat Nevin for today's game. We are awaiting the emergence of the two teams. Still a little while to go until kick-off. We've heard from Jace already. Pat, pre-match, how are you feeling ahead of this one? I mentioned it's always one of the games that Chelsea supporters look forward to. I'm not sure that would quite be the terminology you'd use at the moment.
Yes, I understand that. There will be some concerns because of, well, you said the form, and I would slightly change that. There have been certain times in certain games where I thought we played really well recently. I mean, certainly against Dortmund. I think it was periods where I was loving what I was watching. There was periods during the Fulham game as well, you know. So there was bits of games where the form has been fine. Lack of goal scoring, we know that's the big problem. Maybe it wasn't so great against Southampton, but yeah, you want to see form, but you want to see resilience as well, and you want to see a wee bit of luck. We could really do with some luck at the moment. The amount of times I was looking back at some of the games, the Fulham game I mentioned there. You know, we hit the bar, it hit the post. Kai hit the post. There was last minutes we nearly scored. Fofana nearly scored. Brilliant piece of defending on the line. The amount of team players that have actually saved on the line from us in the last 4 or 5 games has been absolutely ridiculous. So we need to keep on doing that. We need to get a wee bit lucky as well. But we're against a good team, so it's going to be tough.
Let's take you through the two lineups whilst we are waiting for the teams to emerge for kick-off. We'll start with Tottenham. They've got Fraser Forster in goal, conceded 6 against Chelsea for Southampton last season. He never kept a clean sheet in his career against the Blues. A back 4 of Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Clement Lenglet. A back 3, I should say. Emerson Royal and Ben Davis will be the 2 wing-backs, with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Oliver Skip in midfield. Then it's a front 3 of Kulusevski, Kane and Richarlison. Like Chelsea, Spurs have a fairly lengthy injury list, likes of Sessegnon, Lloris, Bissouma and Bentancur all unavailable today, and Antonio Conte's not on the touchline either, still recovering from gallbladder surgery. So Christian Stellini takes charge, and he has actually been a good luck charm for Tottenham in that regard. They won all 3 games when he's been on the touchline, just as Conte's Inter won all 3 when he was suspended and Stellini was on the touchline then. The subs today for the home side: Sanchez, Son, Perisic, Danjuma, Porro, Tanganga, Lucas Moura, and the young goalkeeper Austin, who is yet to make his Spurs debut and is a former Chelsea academy player. As for the Blues, they've made 6 changes from defeat against Southampton. We are just seeing on the touchline, by the way, Cesar Azpilicueta, who is not part today because he sits out because of concussion protocols, but he is here supporting his teammates as you would expect. Those 6 changes see Silva, James, Loftus-Cheek, Sterling, Ziyech and Havertz come in. It means that Kerr is the goalkeeper, a back 4 of Reece James, Kalidou Koulibaly, Thiago Silva and Ben Chilwell. Then Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Enzo Fernandez as the holding midfielders, Raheem Sterling, Joao Felix and Hakim Ziyech in front of them, with Kai Havertz again leading the line. The subs: Bettinelli, Badiashile, Aubameyang, Mudryk, Mount, Zakaria, Gallagher, Madueke and Wesley Fofana. And what strikes me about that, Jason, is that bench has got a bit of quality on it, and now the injury list is starting to clear up a bit. There are game changers there if necessary, and quite often these days we talk about finishers as well as starters being so important.
Yes, good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon Pat and Matt. Yeah, look, in games like this, I expect this to be a very tight game. I think sometimes even before kick-off, I've had a conversation with Pat about where the game might change from the bench. This might be one of those. They've got Son. Look, we've got Koulibaly and Silva. Maybe a few tired limbs. We've seen what Son has done off the bench. A 3 scored against Leicester. He come off the bench again, got himself on the team sheet. Maybe that's how they're going to ease him back. Don't be surprised if he comes. Well, he will. Almost certainly he'll come on. We have other options. We got the likes of Mount at an injury. Mudryk can also come off the bench as well. So there are options off there. But you're right. Potter has been hamstrung a little bit with, no, a little bit, a lot bit, with injuries, players coming in, suspensions. I mean, yeah, Felix, one that Pat was just talking about. For him then just to come in and then pick up a red card, he's out for 3 games. You almost feel, what's Potter got to do? What's he done in a previous life to have this sort of luck? And then Zakaria picks up an injury as well, who I thought was really starting to go through the gears. But look, no one's going to have any sympathy, nor do I want it from any other fan, because Chelsea have deep pockets, we've got a deep squad. Now we're starting to get these players back, and the squad of players that he's got to choose, the pool of players, is now really what we need to start him getting a squad of players into a team, into a formation, and performing. And what, there's not many bigger stages for Chelsea than away at Spurs.
Pat, Jason and I spoke about this during the warm-up in terms of the starting lineup and potential surprises. Is there anything that Graham Potter's done in terms of personnel that made you raise your eyebrows, or you weren't expecting, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, Koulibaly coming in, I mean, I think it's a big one. It's a big call. You know, you can't make any mistakes when you've got Harry Kane playing against you. Harry Kane is an exceptional footballer. Not just a striker or centre forward, he's a footballer in the widest sense of the word. He will pick out passes as well as score goals. So you know that the power that Koulibaly brings you. But a lot of people are thinking, where Barry Ashiel? You know, has he really put much of a step wrong so far? You know, if Fofana's back. But you know, we shall see. We shall see what the right decisions are. Whoever it is will be has Silva beside him, and that helps a lot. So that's a slight, you know, eyebrow raiser to some degree, but it's not a shocker. Ziyech and Sterling being wide. Interesting, now that both of them are fully fit, particularly Sterling's fully fit, it's a big call, it's a big ask, you know, and there's a part of me that when you listen to you talking about finishers, starters and finishers, I think this is a good time to have Mudryk on the bench. I really do. Because of his pace, because of space, because of the end of games, I think the second half is easier for him than the first half as he learns the English game. So I'm with you in that one, even though, you know, Mudryk hasn't done as much as we wanted, but there's plenty to come for him. And I suppose the other one that always raises your eyebrows is Mason Mount has done so much for us over the years. You know, every time he doesn't start, my eyebrows raise. And, you know, I've got a lot of players, a lot of Chelsea fans feel the same way. But let's think about this, and let's remember this about Mason. Every time he comes on, what's his attitude like? It's brilliant. So he's a good guy to come on.
And actually, just you kind of associate this iteration of Chelsea with youth and maybe inexperience, but I'm looking down at the team sheet now. You've got Kepa 28, Koulibaly 31, Thiago Silva 38, and Pat mentions Ziyech and Sterling, Jace, 28 and 29 respectively. Maybe Graham Potter's thinking this is a game where experienced heads need to know how to control it from the start.
Yeah, that's what it feels like with Koulibaly going back in there. He played well against Dortmund. I haven't quite seen the Koulibaly that I think we hoped to see this season, but his best performance I've seen in a blue shirt was away in a Champions League game, and maybe that's just tilted it in his favour. Experience is all over the pitch, top and bottom here. Yes, in the middle of the park, maybe you could argue that, you know, you've got, so look, Ruben's an experienced boy. Ziyech, as you mentioned there, is age. Sterling, my gosh, I mean, you're talking about, you know, when Kane's not captain, Sterling's skipper of England. So all over the pitch there, it's got a splatter of experience, but there's also some of the players that we have seen come in, Felix and Fernandes. Felix, every time I see him play, I come away thinking, this boy's been wasted at Atleti. You know, you can see why Simeone's a different type of coach, right? You can see why they fell out and why he does, because you can see what he's got under the bonnet. But there's been games this season, Pat's right, that we've dominated and played well, but it's not been long enough periods. Again, West Ham, first 25 minutes, oh my word.
Could have been game over.
I mean, how unlucky were, Pat mentioned about luck. I mean, the millimetres or inches you're talking about offsides, those runs, let me tell you, as a defender, when those players go through, you are hoping and praying the flag goes up, because you don't know yourself, you're hoping. And on the other end, as Havertz was, he was hoping and praying that you'd be onside. As it turned out, 2 of them went in West Ham. But them's the margins.
Can I say one last thing before we go away from this? We always seem to forget this. We have lost the second least amount of goals in the Premier League this season. Our defence has been really good. Now, probably shouldn't say that before a game. You might like ship a few. But that's a big, big thing. We know what we need to do. We're defending structure, that seems to be fine. It's just that little last bit.